Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we are discussing about the intellectual history of Muslim scholars in the field of psychology. Particularly, we will discuss about Abu Zaid al-Balkhi, who was from the Balkh, a place from Afghanistan, and his book that is entitled as Masala al-Abdun wal-Anfus, and this book was translated by Dr. Malik Badri, who is considered as the trailblazer of Islamic psychology in 21st century. His contribution in the field of Islamic psychology is groundbreaking that it awakes the Muslim scholars, Muslim psychologists, Muslim psychiatrists that they are in dilemmas, they are in predicaments, that they are intermittently adopting the sugarcoat theories of Western, which are Eurocentric in its nature, and the worldview that's the deriving force behind the theories is most contradictory with the fundamentals of the Islam, with the worldview of the Islam, particularly the concept of universe and the creator of the universe, and the concept of the man, and this interrelationship between these three kind of existences in the universe, and how they are relevant with each other, and he stated that the Western psychology is completely ignoring spirituality from the picture of their therapies, and the counseling sessions where they deliver their counseling sessions. Most of their theories are secular in nature, and he translated this book, and this book is presently available. The manuscript of this book is available in the Hagia Sophia library in Turkey, where it is preserved, and I have gone through this book from from the very beginning in my career of my research field, particularly that is focused on the early Muslim scholars, their contribution, intellectual history, what are the loopholes, why Muslim scholars are overlooked in the intellectual history of Muslims after the decadence. And some people say that the closing the gate of ijtihad, that was the big reason, and the Mongols attack on the Abbasids during the period of Abbasids, and the devastation on the large scale, and the burning of the libraries, that some pose their these kind of substantiative evidences that Muslims lost their legacy, lost their intellectual legacy in the field of psychology, geography, mathematics, and even some people in contemporary time wrote the papers, and they are crediting the scholar like the Al-Khwarizmi for his algorithm, and the role of algorithm in artificial intelligence, just like this was a scholar. And Ibn Sina, his contribution in the field of psychology, like the psychopathology, he discovered some the some surgical tools that about the 200 in, and that surgical tools were the 200 in number. And in contemporary times, his book Al-Hawi, Ash-Shifa, and there are so many books of Ibn Sina, that these books were translated in the English language, and these books are in contemporary times are studied in the European universities. And this is the rich intellectual legacy of the Muslims that is reflected in the different sessions and the different disciplines of the academic pursuits. And Abu Zaid al-Balkhi, he was from the Balkh. Actually, he was a geographer, a polymath, encyclopedist. He had a lot of knowledge about that. He was a polymath. He know about the political science, sociology, history, mathematics, psychology. In the field of psychology, he contributed a lot. He discovered about some disorders which are psychosomatic in nature. And he also discussed about the psychopathology, causes of the depression. And one of the contemporary scholar, she is from the Stanford University, whose name is Dr. Ronya Ahad. His work is really journal of the very very impressive. He presented his paper. He submitted his paper, Journal of Affective Disorder. And in this paper, he discovered some very strong evidences from the intellectual history of the Muslims, where she talk about the about some concepts in psychology, concept of psychology, for example, obsessive compulsive disorder, and contemporary DSM-5, that is the diagnostic statistical book for the psychological disorders. And this book is very impressive. He compared and contrasted the symptoms of the symptoms and the treatment of the obsession. And she found there that there is a strong compatibility between the symptoms and the treatments that which were posed by the scholars like the Abu Zaid al-Balkhi in his book Masala al-Abdun al-Anfus. This book was translated The Sustenance of the Soul, and this was the intellectual legacy of the Muslims. And there are certain reasons, for example, Americanization of psychology and the power dynamic is also a factor that which contributed to the colonization of the minds of the Muslims. And intellectual legacy of the Muslims in all over the world, in the in universities, at academic level, at higher education level, their intellectual legacy is overshadowed. There are certain reasons that they are overshadowing the with the contribution of Muslim scholars. For example, that they are making the Muslims inferior in academic lines. This was the point of discussion. And inshallah Rahman, we will discuss further again and again some very interesting, conspicuous topics of the Islamic psychology. We will discuss inshallah. And I will put my efforts to continue the legacy of Muslim scholars, and to continue the legacy of the Muslim scholars in that, to revive their tradition, to revive their contribution, that the Muslims can awake. Muslims can awake, that awake from the deep slumber. This is my point of. These are my stance about this discussion. And if you have any kind of any kind of I mean to say here, any kind of comment is any kind of suggestions for me for improving the content and other things. For example, a speaking skills, I have created this content only for the sake of improving myself in the academic on the academic lines, not to the for not to for the intention of getting subscription from the people, or for monetizing the channel. This is not the aim of this and this is my humble attempt to rejuvenate myself in different scenarios of the academic. Thank you very much.